Okay, going to talk about one of my favorite artists of all time, John Lennon. Obviously an ex-Beatle, guitar player and singer. I got Imagine playing in the background, the album. This first album here, Acoustics, was a great find I found. It's a bunch of his tunes, obviously just played acoustically, and there are some on here that are just awesome. Imagine sounds cool with just the acoustic guitars. This right here, I actually have this is one of the greatest albums of all time as far as I'm concerned. I mean, every single song, I mean, I can name, Crippled Inside, Jealous Guy, It's So Hard, Give Me Some Truth, the Brutal song that is about Paul McCartney, even though John sort of took that back and said it wasn't, How Do You Sleep, which is pretty brutal. But I have a little treat to show you at the end of the video about a vinyl of this album. Men Love Avenue was released after he died. I think it was in '86, and it's all stuff from recordings of from the Walls and Bridges sessions, and I think there was some stuff from the rock and roll sessions as well. Good album. The Plastic Ono Band, obviously his debut album post Beatles, 1970. There's some brutal songs. I mean, brutal songs on here like Mother, which is pretty sad if you know the story about his mom being, leaving when he was a kid and leaving him with his aunt, and then when she tried to come back and sort of start a relationship with him, she got hit by a car by an off-duty policeman and killed, which is pretty sad, and I think John never really healed from that. So there's Mother on this album, Working Class Hero, Isolation, just a great album. This is actually one of the first things I got, which was a CD of sort of a greatest hits CD. This is really famous, obviously, because of the cover. The music is not very good. It's not really music. It's really avant-garde stuff. It was recorded in '68. Him and Yoko when they first sort of got together, and it's really just them recording like noises with like, I know that's kind of what music is, it's just noises, but really it's like and Yoko will be going really weird stuff. And same thing with this, with Life with the Lions. This was recorded the year after. Pretty weird stuff, but still, I don't know. I felt like I had to have it. I don't know. The Wedding album is weird too, but when they got married, there's the song, the Beatles song, Ballad of John and Yoko, but yeah, this is Sometime in New York. This is actually really good. This is 1972 album. It's got songs like Woman is the Nigger of the World and New York City, which is one of my favorite songs. It's really rock and roll, and just John's voice sounds phenomenal on it. Luck of the Irish is good. John Sinclair is good. If you know the story about John Sinclair, he was I guess they thought that he was like sort of falsely arrested or entrapment because he bought a couple of joints off of a police officer and got like 10 years in prison for 2 joints or something ridiculous like that. Mind Games, the title track from this album, 1973, the title track, Mind Games, one of my favorite John Lennon songs. Really good album. Walls and Bridges is one of those albums with a song like Whatever Gets You Through the Night. I think that's the song that Elton John did with him, that he promised that he did that song with him, and then Elton said, well, if the song goes to number one, then you have to come on stage with me and do a song or do like Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds or something, I think. And it went number 1, and he had to go on stage with him. It also has songs like Number 9 Dream, Scared, and Steel and Glass is another song that John said that he thought that was about Paul McCartney, or people thought was about Paul McCartney, and then he said, oh no, really, I thought those were about Paul, but really they're about me, which I just think was him just trying to cover it, because it's pretty obvious about with How Do You Sleep on the Imagine album and Steel and Glass on this, that it's pretty obvious that it's about somebody that he was pretty upset with. Rock and roll, I like 50s rock and roll, and that's sort of what John grew up on, and most of the Beatles. And so this is just him going back, recording songs that he liked to play, like Stand By Me and Bebop-A-Lula, like he did when he was a kid. Just sort of fulfilling that fantasy, I guess. Good album, great album. Double Fantasy, the first vinyl album I ever bought was Double Fantasy. Obviously the last album John ever recorded. before he was killed. And there's that terrible picture of the guy who killed him, Mark David Chapman, getting John to sign the album before he killed him. Watching the Wheels on this, the song on this album is one of my favorite John Lennon songs. Great song. And one of the saddest songs is "Beautiful Boy" about Sean, which is really heartbreaking that, you know, he lost his dad when he was 5 years old, and it's just really sad stuff. Milk and Honey is another album released after John died. Nobody Told Me on this album is a great song. Live Peace in Toronto 1969 is a good album. John, it's something that a lot of people don't realize, and the same thing with this album, this live album. John never, I found this out, John never played in public for money ever after he left the Beatles. Every show he ever did in public was for either to get a message out there or for some kind of charity, which I think is really cool, actually. Shaved Fish 1975 is the only compilation that came out in John's lifetime of post-Beatles stuff, which is pretty cool. The anthology stuff is really interesting. There's some cool stuff on here, different stuff of like Sean talking and asking, you know, John about the Beatles, and sort of John asking him who Sean thinks the Beatles are and whatnot. And there's actually some really good conversation things and studio talk between John and Phil Spector, which are just, you know, as far as I'm concerned, priceless. This right here is actually just some interviews, and I'm a big fan, so I like the interviews and stuff like that. I like to kind of get to know the people. Obviously, that's one of the most famous photographs of John ever in New York City. This next album isn't, I mean, it's a John Lennon album, but it's, you know, I think it's the only time that John and Paul ever got together after the Beatles and recorded. John was in a studio and Paul showed up, and they recorded some music. It's not the greatest. I don't know if you can see, but it says John Lennon, Paul McCartney, Stevie Wonder, Harry Nilsson, Jesse Ed Davis, who was a guitar player, and Bobby Keys, who was a sax player for the Stones, most known for that. They were all just sort of jamming, and that's what it is, and doing drugs, and that's why the name of the album is A Toot and a Snore in '74. Because at the very first track you hear John ask, clear as day, ask Stevie Wonder, "You want to snort, Stevie? It's going around." Or no, he says, I think he says exactly, he says, "You want to snort, Stevie? A toot, it's going around," or whatever. Which is pretty, you know, into John's 70s drug issues. But yeah, it's just a cool thing. It doesn't have any sort of full, solid songs on it, but it's just kind of a cool little thing to have. But that is my John Lennon record collection. Like I said, one of my favorite artists of all time. Thanks for watching. Oh, actually, hold on. I wanted to show you what I was going to say. Hold on one second. Okay, these are. This is my first ever vinyl I ever bought, which is the Double Fantasy album. It's in great condition. The sleeve is in great condition, and the album is in even better condition. I don't know if you can see that. I'm trying to do this from here. Great album. But the one I'm most excited about, I'm trying to get the camera set up right. The one I'm most excited about is that I just recently found out that this is a first pressing of this, an actual 1971 first pressing of Imagine. I don't know if that's worth anything, and I wouldn't sell it either way, unless it was worth some, obviously, like some ridiculous amount of money. But it's in great condition. The record is in phenomenal condition. Absolutely great record. I love the Apple stuff on there and John's face and whatnot. But yeah, I just wanted to show that, sort of show off. I don't know if it's rare or anything, but I did find out through some online research that this is a first pressing, 1971 pressing of the ever famous Imagine album. And that is it. Thanks for watching.